do this. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to steal my notes. You're not allowed to steal my indications of different time frames wherein I make notes because they're actually economic events and they're actually evidence. You were not allowed to just steal that last video I made. Again, let me say this again. Today, there's an announcement that comes in connection with an earlier announcement from this year regarding a $1.2 billion bust by the Department of Justice regarding fees, penalties, and fines associated with a number of doctors and medical centers involved in, among other things, fraud involving durable medical devices. As I said before, between 2012 and 2013, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, through the Office of Inspector General, had announcements about a number of busts concerning that very kind of phenomena, mostly but not exclusively from the countries of the former Soviet Union, specifically from the Ukraine. In the last several years, nobody has provided any assistance with trying to identify these implications. I have my own understanding of what they entail, including, by the way, which I did say in the last video, how they have to deal with or do with the situation in the Crimea, but not exclusively. At the same time, as I have videos online, it discussed how in the history of the American banking system, including the onset of the Federal Reserve, in 1922, there were issued $1.2 billion worth of gold certificates that I understand had a 10-year term. What happened in 1932? My understanding is that we're in another situation of a sort of stagger pattern where certain groups of people are leveraged against each other under the auspices of some sort of claim, where some group is allowed to be genocided, ostensibly because another group has some claim that they were wronged or affronted. The problem is, you keep going after the wrong people. Today is the 5th anniversary of my writ of habeas corpus with the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. See, I had it ready to go on July 20th, but the computer crashed right as I was about to send it off. So I had to take the printout and read it overnight. During that time frame, I was physically assaulted, and I had to file a police report. I ended up having to leave the place where I was staying because I was in fear of my actual safety based on how the police handle it and the fact that I'd been physically assaulted, including in that, what I didn't know at the time, is that the police in Houston were bidding on what turned out to be the nomination and hiring of a chief of police in another city. I want to know who you are. You're going to need to reveal your identity immediately. You're going to need to talk to me immediately. I've been hearing for the last couple of days that I shouldn't have, I'm early, that this isn't my time. It's somebody else's time. No, it's not. This was literally my case. This is literally what the charges of my case were. Did I know about the history of the banking system and the Federal Reserve? No, it was part of the discovery. It was evidence. You had no right to take anything from the last 5 years and sell it off, no matter what it was for, before you allowed me to actually go to court and try the case. You had no right to take any of my identity and pretend you're me, or that somehow me and my family and my identity, even as restitution. Who are you? That you have absolutely no sense of political consciousness or no sense of political solidarity, but are rather opportunistically aiding and abetting criminals at the highest level. When you accept somebody else's life as some sort of what? Foreign assistance, restitution, medical disability compensation? It's going to be very important in the upcoming time that you understand the implications of what you're doing. I've been warning for over a year that around this time, a year ago, they made issues of actual Nazi stock. They did it on 2 levels. On one level, you're supposed to believe it has something to do with Vegas in the Old West style. But on the other level, it's literally recapitulation of stock issues connected to occupations by the Nazis of strategic locations during the onset and the ascent of the Nazi forays outside of Germany. But this is after they had already set up the infrastructure for annihilation, just like what they've been doing. Just like what I was trying to warn people about 6 years ago before I filed my charges 5 years ago. I've been warning that since February, and even since then, they've been actually putting into circulations this Nazi stock. It has been correlated directly with the events in Russia and the Ukraine. I don't give a fuck if you're on the front line of that war. You don't have the fucking right to play Nazi, hoping to curry sympathy for any fucking reason if you know, and you should fucking know, that it's predicated on the genocides of other people. You don't get to leverage the national self-determination of your people while you co-conspire with the genocide of other peoples. As I said, which I understand you weren't very fond of, you're going to have to learn about the history of Charles de Gaulle. Why? Because you forgot. Apparently you forgot what happens when you translate it into Spanish. It's not about Virginia, it's for fucking lovers.